Throughout the months of August, September, and now October, many Nintendo fans have been waiting with bated breath, anticipating some sort of insane announcement from Nintendo. Many have been hoping to see the next big General Direct, and others have been hoping to finally see the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. And there have been some very weird things going on over these last few months. In August, we had the Museum Direct, as well as a partner showcase plus Indie World showcase, a combined stream, something we had never seen before. In September, the month where we've seen consistently for the last 8 years a direct presentation, there was nothing of that sort in that month. And now for the month of October, in this current week, we've seen weird announcements like Mario Wonder Chocolate Eggs, Piranha Plant Tongs, just yesterday morning, a Nintendo clock, and yesterday evening, a playtest program for Nintendo Switch Online. And this has led to a great deal of speculation on what this might be and what might it mean. There appear to be a few very interesting possibilities, and this may have something to do with what a lot of Nintendo fans have been eagerly waiting for. So that's what we're going to be talking more about today on AndresRestart. Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and let's just jump right into things here. Yesterday evening, October 9th, at 6 PM Eastern Time, Nintendo tweeted this out. We'll be performing a test related to a new feature for Nintendo Switch Online on Nintendo Switch. Starting 8 AM Pacific Time on October 10th, existing Switch Online plus expansion pack members will be able to apply to participate on a first-come, first-served basis. This is now no longer possible. I've tried it. If you weren't there within the first 60 seconds or less, you probably didn't get in. I also was not selected, so it is unfortunate. However, this playtest program will be taking place between October 23rd and November 5th. Basically a 2-week window here. They're going to be having 10,000 lucky people playtest something relating to a new feature for Switch Online. Now, some requirements: you have to have a Nintendo account, you have to have an active Switch Online plus expansion pack membership, be at least 18 years old, and also be registered in any of the following countries: Japan, US, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Spain. So from these little details, is there anything that we can glean about what this new feature is for Switch Online? Well, some might want to jump at the 18 years old thing and wonder, oh, maybe this is some sort of app that includes games that is for ages 18 and up. Well, we have seen some things from the website and the source code that give us other indications. It looks like there's going to be some sort of non-disclosure agreement that you will have to sign in order to play, and if that's the case, well, minors can't sign NDAs legally. So that's probably why you have to at least be 18 years old. There could be other reasons why you could be 18 years old, but there's at least that reason. So we shouldn't assume that there's going to be rated M games playable during this playtest program. Now, something else we've learned is that the app that you will have to download in order to take part in this playtest program is going to be 2.2 gigabytes. Now, what I find interesting about this is that the N64 app that we can download for NSO is 1.6 gigabytes, so it's even bigger than that. And yes, totally it has me thinking, maybe this could be for Gamecube NSO. And maybe it will be. It has been thought for some time that we will eventually see GameCube come to Switch Online. We've seen the trademarks for the GameCube controller relating to Switch Online. It does make sense to think that at some point or another, this will come. But is that what this playtest program is for? Because they didn't have to have a playtest program for N64 Online, they just announced it, you were able to download the app, and you were able to play the games. So why would it be different this time around? Well, something that I think is worth noting here is that GameCube has some pretty significant multiplayer games that we absolutely would have loved to have had an online component to. Think about games like Mario Kart Double Dash, F-Zero GX, Star Fox Assault, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Imagine if Nintendo were to have a GameCube NSO, and because it's on NSO, the multiplayer games do have an online mode. being able to play Melee Online officially would be insane, and that would attract a pretty large audience. And so perhaps Nintendo may want to stress test all these different GameCube Online games. I think there could be something to this idea. Before we continue going forward though, let me very quickly ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Anyway, recently we talked about how Nintendo is using the Switch to emulate Virtual Boy at the Nintendo Direct Museum, and with 3D All-Stars they emulated a GameCube game in Mario Sunshine and a Wii game in Mario Galaxy. Perhaps Nintendo has this plan to expand on NSO significantly with multiple different platforms, and going into this next generation with Switch 2, they are going to introduce these platforms. And perhaps Nintendo wants to start stress testing this now. So yes, what I am indicating to some extent here is I do think there's a possibility that this playtest program in some way relates to Switch 2. Now maybe it's not GameCube NSO, maybe it's not any sort of Nintendo Switch Online app, even though I do think there's a pretty good chance of that. But when you think about how late we are into the generation for Switch 1, Switch came out March 2017, we are in the 8th year of the console, it's kind of strange to introduce a new feature this late into the generation. We're not even getting DLC for different Nintendo games anymore. Clearly, we're in this waning transitional period. So this does have me thinking that whatever this feature is, yes, it will be on Switch 1 because we're playtesting it on Switch 1. They are going to continue to support Switch 1 for the next couple years, but it will be a waning period as we transition over to Switch 2 and more people adopt to that console. And so I think whatever this feature is, it will also be a part of Switch Online plus expansion pack for Switch 2. And with this in mind, it does have me wondering on what else they might be testing out here if it isn't anything related to like GameCube or Virtual Boy or Wii or DS games, something like that. And when thinking about Switch 2 and how Nintendo may want things to be done differently this time around, we have heard from a variety of people that third-party support, a lot of third-party developers are a lot more eager and interested in Switch 2 than they were in Switch 1, and there has been a lot of conversation that there will be a lot more AAA third-party support. And so if that's the case, Nintendo may have an opportunity here to obtain an audience that they haven't really had for the last few generations. The audience that's very mainstream and casual, that's usually debating between picking up an Xbox or a PlayStation, but doesn't really have interest in the exclusive games. They're more so buying a console to play the Call of Duty games, the 2K sports games, things like that, these recurring releases that appeal to a very large audience. There's a big part of that audience that perhaps Nintendo might be able to get to switch over, pun intended, to Switch 2. Because the Switch 2 can essentially run a lot of these third-party games in a pretty decent fashion, and also have the same level of online features, including perhaps even voice chat and messaging, things that we've had on PlayStation and Xbox for years, but not really Nintendo. Maybe they want to start playtesting that now to make sure that they can handle the stress, the load, going into Switch 2. So they can hit the ground running and snag this audience, so people will be able to play your Call of Duties, your NBA 2Ks, and so on, but also portably with all the features and parity compared to the other platforms. I think there could be something to this idea as well. Now, I would love to see Nintendo test out actual voice chat natively on the console, but because there's no sort of dedicated headset feature that doesn't have anything to do with that horrendous Switch app on phones, I can't actually reasonably predict that this will have voice chat. But who knows, maybe there will be some sort of update that will allow for Bluetooth headsets potentially, and maybe there could be just expanded features in terms of communication and connecting with your friends, maybe, or possibly there could be some level of Discord integration, and that would have to be done through your phone, but perhaps it would work a lot better than the horrendous Switch app that we don't talk about. So this feature that they want to test out for expansion pack members might simply be the kind of online features that have become a norm on other platforms. Now, another crazy feature that people have suggested is perhaps the return of something like Miiverse. And I have been anticipating maybe a return of Miiverse and even Street Pass in some form on Switch 2. And Miiverse is definitely a heavy online thing, so maybe they would want to get 10,000 Nintendo fans to playtest something like this so they can have it running well once Switch 2 comes out early next year. I suppose that's possible, but really when I think about a playtest, I think the implication is that we're going to be playing some kind of game. And using expanded online features to play games, I think that would work. But testing out a social media app that's exclusive for Nintendo and then you've made even more exclusive to expansion pack members, I don't know. I'm not sure that's what it is, but I would love to see Miiverse return in some form on Switch 2 for sure, and then I guess also by extension Switch 1 if we're testing it on Switch 1. But something else that did come to mind to me that I do think makes some sense is being able to playtest actual games that are coming out later down the road. What if Nintendo wants to put together some sort of app where if you're an expansion pack member, you have the privilege of being able to playtest certain Nintendo games that are set up to be played before release. This would be a very interesting way to get more people to buy into NSO. I mean, just look at what's going on right now with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. A lot of people are spending over $100 just to be able to play the game just a few extra days early. So if NSO allows there to be certain playtest moments, perhaps something like the Splatoon test fires, many more Nintendo fans may want to get the expansion pack app because it may allow them to play more games on here. And so this possibility gets me very excited because then I then wonder, well, what kind of game would Nintendo want us to play ahead of time at this point in time? Probably not Mario and Luigi. I mean, I suppose it's possible. It doesn't even necessarily have to be an online game because maybe they want to stream the game from the app so you don't have access to the full game. Maybe that's a way to combat data mining a little bit. But that's also something else Nintendo likes to keep in mind because if you put a demo out there, some people are going to try and data mine that, and that's something Nintendo definitely wants to avoid. So perhaps that has something to do with it. Maybe they found a way that they can stream games and it makes it easier for them to control the messaging and avoid people finding out more about the game than they want people to. But then if the app is 2.2 gigabytes, which is kind of large, would a streaming app really need to be that size? I'm not sure, but we have seen that streaming certain cloud games, the apps that you download don't require that much space. So I'm not sure, but if this is an overall app that gives you different features that's a little bit more extensive, then maybe there's still reason for it to be pretty sizable. Now I'll throw out this idea just because I think it's exciting even though I don't actually think it's going to happen. If this is something that allows us to playtest future games, what if they want us to playtest Metroid Prime 4? And here's the interesting thing about Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 may very well be a title that comes out early enough next year that it's within that early launch window of Switch 2, and so it may also be a cross-gen title. And so what may end up happening is that we're playing Metroid Prime 4 early, a lot of people get to play it, and maybe I'm even somewhat implying here that there could be multiplayer, and this is a stress test for that, but also it's putting Metroid Prime 4 out there, it's us learning more about the game, and if this were to happen, we would know a lot about the game, and it would be one of those big games we know so much about going early on into Switch 2. I don't actually think they're going to let us play Metroid Prime 4 months in advance for a 2-week span of time. And by us, I mean the lucky 10,000 that were able to be there for that first few seconds that the actual applications were open. But it is interesting to consider that whatever this is, it is likely going to be something that allows us to play games, an expansion to some sort of experience for expansion pack members. And I'll throw out one other idea. What if it's not an upcoming game? What if it's just a unique game? Like, what if Nintendo wants to test out an exclusive expansion pack game that is online? Like, imagine if Nintendo had their own version of Fortnite or some sort of battle royale game that you only have access to as an expansion pack member. If you have exclusive games like this, then people will be like, whoa, well, that's a reason to have expansion packs. So perhaps that's something they may want to play around with, and it would also require a stress test if it's an online game. And I suppose something else that's interesting to note here is that if it is another game we get to play that isn't Mario Party or Mario and Luigi, this stress test takes place between the release dates of Mario Party and Mario and Luigi. So once we're done with this, if you're ready for the next best thing from Nintendo, it would be Mario and Luigi Brothership. But that is just another possibility. But what I want to focus on here is anticipating something that is something along the lines of the features we've seen for Expansion Pack, which is essentially Game Boy Advance, N64, and some DLC for some Nintendo games. I think it's going to be something that we are going to be able to play, and there will likely be online play involved. And I also think it's something that will be relevant on Switch 2 as well. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.